Are you interested in having a lucrative, rewarding career where you have freedom and autonomy and you're making a positive impact on the world? If so, you might be interested in my hypnotherapy training. I'm offering one last class starting in April before I retire from teaching hypnotherapy to focus on other things. Now, my hypnotherapy program is unique. I teach what I call whole brain hypnotherapy. It's the only hypnotherapy training where you're taught to include both the conscious and subconscious mind. Let me differentiate my style of hypnotherapy from what is typically being taught. Typically, what's being taught is get the client really deep and then basically read a script or give them positive affirmations. In my opinion, this is really bad hypnosis. There's a lot of reasons for that. First off, not everybody goes that deep. If you've got a client who is nervous, it's their first time, they're curious about the process, or maybe they're really analytical, which a lot of my clients are, they'll be more inclined to hang out lighter because they want to know what's going to happen. If you try to push somebody who would prefer to hang out lighter into a deeper state, you're going to interfere with rapport, which is crucial to doing hypnotherapy. The job of the subconscious is self preservation. Its job is to protect your client. If you're trying to push your client to go deeper when they don't want to, they're not going to feel safe with you. Their subconscious is not going to trust you, and they're not even going to go into hypnosis with you. And so that's one problem with that process. Another problem with that mode of hypnotherapy is the subconscious mind is not the language processing part of the mind. When a client is very deep in hypnosis, they're not really following you with their conscious mind. Their conscious mind is wandering, drifting. They're not really involved in the process, which means you're limited to using language, giving suggestions. Now, again, the subconscious doesn't understand language. It's the part of your mind that's all about symbolism and imagery and emotion. That's what it responds to. And so, if your approach, old timey hypnosis as I think of it, is to get the client really deep, get the conscious mind out of the way, and then use language on the part of the mind that doesn't understand language, not a very effective approach. And so my approach is different. Instead of trying to get them deep and then read them affirmations, I'm taking my client to whatever depth of hypnosis is most natural and organic, feels most comfortable for them. I'm proving to them that they're in hypnosis. And then I'm speaking to both parts of the mind. Instead of trying to get the conscious mind out of the way, I include the conscious mind in the process. This is the only hypnotherapy training that does that. Now, another thing that is pretty unique about my training is I teach my students how to uncover and address the cause of the client's symptoms instead of just trying to suggest the symptoms away. And in my opinion, this is crucial to getting results with the client. Let me give you an example. I was trained the way most hypnotherapists are trained, get them deep and give them suggestions. And so I got my very first weight loss client when I was new to hypnosis, and she wanted to work on portion control. And so I got her as deep as I could into hypnosis, and I was giving her suggestions for eating smaller portions, being happy with smaller portions. And the client actually started eating more. She was gaining weight. Now, I didn't know what to do. I wasn't properly trained. And so, out of exasperation in our next session, I said aloud, there must be some reason why you're not following my suggestions. And much to my surprise, my client started talking. When I said that, she had a memory come up of being 7 years old and seeing her grandmother go to hospice. My client was visiting her grandmother over and over and over, not really understanding what was going on. She saw that grandma got skinnier, skinnier, and skinnier, and then eventually died. I realized when she said this that her subconscious had made an association between weight loss and death. Here I'm telling her to eat smaller portions, and her poor subconscious is hearing me say, I'm going to kill you. When I realized what was going on, I took a different approach. I started talking to her about how this wasn't about her being less well. This was actually about her being healthier, that her grandmother didn't die of weight loss. She died of an illness. When I understood what was going on for the client and took the appropriate approach, the client started losing weight. That session taught me a lot. It taught me that clients have clarity within themselves as to what's going on with regards to their symptoms. It taught me that I could ask the client questions and the client would respond. It taught me that I could interact with my clients during hypnosis and really cut to the chase, really figure out what was going on for them. And so this is what I teach all of my students. We're going to start slow. I'm going to give you lots of structure. I'm going to explain why we do everything that we're doing so that you're not just reading a script, but understanding the technique that we're employing. But we build up to you working completely spontaneously with the client, interacting with them, finding out real time what's going on for them, and doing effective work to help them release their symptoms. And so if this all sounds good to you, come and check out the training. I'll put the link below. And I always require an interview with anybody looking into my training so I can make sure that we're a fit for one another. So please feel free to set up an interview. I'd love to chat with you more about the training. There's no obligation to go ahead with it for either of us. And I just look forward to having a conversation with you and seeing if this might be a fit. I look forward to meeting you. Bye bye.